and welcome to Channel 1, a new way of consuming, reporting, and thinking about the news powered by artificial intelligence. Today, you'll witness AI-generated stories and headlines, captivating visuals, and data-driven insights. From global news to finance to entertainment, we'll show you how technology enables us to bring you a global perspective 24/7, right from the heart of our AI-native newsroom. All presented by our team of AI-generated reporters.
Maybe you hear the words artificial intelligence and you're immediately skeptical or concerned about technology gone crazy. But everything you'll see on Channel 1 relies on trusted sources and fact-checking and uses AI to give you news the way you want it, personalized, localized, and distilled. Through it all, our mission is to provide you with accurate, unbiased, and trustworthy news. Technology may be the tool, but journalism's core values of integrity and accountability are at the heart of everything we do.
Today we're going to show off some of the technology we're using to build Channel 1. We'll show you how AI powers and empowers our newsroom to deliver journalism that's fast, trustworthy, and accurate. Let's start with our reporters. You can hear us and see our lips moving, but no one was recorded saying what we're all saying. I'm powered by sophisticated systems behind the scenes, and I can speak in any language. Για παράδειγμα, αυτή τη στιγμή μιλάω στα ελληνικά. O kung pinapanood mo ako mula sa Maynila, marunong akong magsalita ng Filipino. எனக்கும் தமிழ் பேசத் தெரியும் என்று நீங்கள் யூகித்திருக்க மாட்டீர்கள் என்று நான் நம்புகிறேன். In fact, you can see even more language samples on our website. Channel 1's anchors can even be completely generated to have their own personality, appearance, and voice.
And what is AI native news? First, here's what it's not. It's not fake news. There isn't a computer somewhere writing its own news stories about things that haven't happened. Our system relies only on trusted news sources to bring together the best journalism on any topic from around the world into a single news program. We'll also be using artificial intelligence technology in a number of other ways. For example, thanks to our translation capabilities, we can feature on-the-ground, real-life reporters from around the world to get you closer to a particular story.
In other cases, it's even possible to create footage of events where cameras were not able to capture the action. It's the same way that a courtroom sketch is not a literal depiction of actual events, but can still provide important information or nuance to a news report. And wherever AI has been used to add context, or in any way alter existing sources or depictions of actual events, on-screen graphics will clearly indicate the nature of the alteration. Human editors and producers are also involved in checking the stories for accuracy and clarity at every step of the process.
But maybe the best way to explain what Channel 1 is just to show you. Right now, we're going to jump into a program featuring a selection of stories, all produced with the help of AI. So, please enjoy the world's first look at Channel 1.
This is Channel 1.
Military operations against Hamas by Israeli Defense Forces continue in Gaza, with Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu rejecting the idea of a ceasefire in Gaza unless hostages are released. This week, the White House said Israel has agreed to 4-hour daily pauses of operations in order to allow people to flee along humanitarian corridors. Ukraine President Volodymyr Zelensky urged his nation's people to stay focused and strong in the face of the protracted war with Russia. He did so while thanking allies for their ongoing support and campaigning for Ukraine's accession to the European Union. Zelensky's comments come as the U.S. Congress disagrees over passing a new aid package, and Ukraine is struggling to make military and diplomatic gains, with fears that allies are growing weary of the war. The United States Department of Labor released its jobs report this week. The numbers were mixed, with 217,000 initial jobless claims, which was 1,000 fewer than expected. Meanwhile, continuing jobless claims jumped to the highest level since April at just over 1.8 million. Nominations for the 2024 Grammy Awards are out, with Taylor Swift, Luke Combs, and SZA among the artists picking up major nods. The nominees were announced via live stream, featuring a group of previous Grammy winners, including Kim Petras, John Bon Jovi, and Weird Al Yankovic. And in last night's Thursday night football matchup, the Carolina Panthers took on the Bears in Chicago, where #1 draft pick Bryce Young struggled as the Panthers' offense couldn't score a single touchdown against the Bears. Chicago beats Carolina 16-13.
You ready to see the results of the mission? Take a peek.
It looks like a jumble of dust and rubble, but it might just hold some of the secrets to life on Earth. NASA revealed the first asteroid samples ever returned by a U.S. mission. The OSIRIS-REx craft was launched in 2016 to collect the samples from a carbon-rich asteroid called Bennu, almost 60 million miles away. That payload was returned to Earth in a sealed capsule during a recent flyby.
It just stuck the landing, it landed and didn't move.
The SRC has been delivered to the clean room facility.
So right now we have this incredible view of the sample into the tag sand. We're looking into the part that touched the asteroid Bennu.
Researchers say the samples could give us insight into the dawn of the solar system.
And they contain carbon, and you could see the carbon there.
The asteroid samples also contain water in the form of water-bearing clay minerals, the study of which was a main priority of the $1 billion 7-year mission.
So scientists are looking at it to help us understand planet formation and the origins of water and carbon, which led to life here on Earth.
Back in 2020, the team suffered a setback when the lid on the collection container failed. A handful of small pebbles prevented a proper seal, which caused many of the samples to float off into space. Nevertheless, the materials that made the return trip to Earth are priceless. Once the samples are archived, they will be divided up among researchers around the world for further study. NASA will also retain samples for future analysis when better technology becomes available.
The work we do here will be available for scientists perhaps watching now, perhaps not yet born.
NASA's latest asteroid-chasing mission is already on its way into space, headed toward a rare asteroid made of metal called Psyche.
Why are we doing this? Because at NASA, we are trying to find out who we are. What is our place in this vastness called the universe?
Parts of Europe are still reeling from Storm Ciarán after record-breaking winds swept through France and much of the western part of the continent. Storm Ciarán arrived less than 2 weeks after Storm Babet brought similar strong winds, heavy rainfall, and flash flooding to parts of northern Europe. And here's something you'll see exclusively on Channel 1. Let's use our AI translation technology to take you closer to the story and help you understand the power of this storm. Recently, this man walked French news channel France 24 through the destruction at his home. Here's the original footage that would traditionally only air to French-speaking audiences.
Vers 2 heures du matin, j'ai entendu un gros bruit, je me suis levé. J'ai vu que ça commençait, son toit commençait à se surélever. Et puis une demi-heure après, tout est parti en vrac, quoi. Ça s'est éparpillé, quoi. Vous voyez, là, on avait mis des grosses pierres, là. Il y avait 4 grosses pierres comme ça sur le toit. Et ben, ça arrivait quand même à décoller le toit plus la pierre, quoi.
And now, experience that same clip, but in English.
At around 2 a.m., I heard a loud noise, so I got up from my bed. I looked outside and noticed that his roof was beginning to lift up into the air. And then, after 30 minutes, everything went crazy. It scattered all over the place. You see there, we had placed big stones. There were 4 big stones like that on the roof, and it still managed to lift the roof along with the stone.
Recent weeks have seen a number of extreme weather events happening around the globe. In late October, Hurricane Otis wreaked havoc in Acapulco, the first time in history that a storm in the eastern Pacific remained a Category 5 hurricane after making landfall. At the same time, Tropical Cyclone Tej delivered extreme rainfall to parts of Oman and Yemen, dumping more than 17 inches, or the equivalent of more than 5 years' worth of rain for the region in just 24 hours. However, progress on adapting to climate change has actually been slowing down, according to this year's United Nations Environment Program Adaptation Gap Report. The study, released last week, projects what countries collectively should be spending on climate change versus what they're actually spending, and estimates a shortfall of as much as $366 billion per year. That's 10 to 18 times as much as current spending, with developing countries being most vulnerable to climate disasters. Gavin Schmidt, director of NASA's Goddard Institute for Space Studies, told the PBS NewsHour that as the pace of global climate change increases, so will the increased frequency of these weather events.
But what we're seeing now is that those things that were 1 in 100 year events are now 1 in 50 year, 1 in 30 year, once a decade, and soon, conceivably, could be an every year or an every couple of year event. And that's the difference. The frequency and intensity of these features is increasing, and we can see that in the statistics around the globe.
The report urges investment and adaptation in order to close the finance gap. If that doesn't happen, says Gavin Schmidt, we may be headed towards a point of no return for the climate, even if we aren't there quite yet. You're watching Channel 1.
FBI, we have an arrest warrant!
More than 40 FBI special agents, intelligence experts, and victim specialists were dispatched to field offices in 10 states to help solve violent crimes and cold cases impacting Native Americans. The initiative, which the Bureau has dubbed Operation Not Forgotten, is an effort to tackle more than 200 cases involving violence primarily against women and children in indigenous communities. According to FBI Section Chief Jonathan Tapp, the influx of FBI personnel resulted in 40 arrest and search operations, as well as the ability to identify victims of crimes previously unknown to law enforcement. Agents were also able to recover a child who had been reported missing. Operation Not Forgotten is part of the FBI's attempt to address criticism from indigenous advocates, who say that cases of missing and killed Native Americans do not receive the attention they deserve from law enforcement. That's why FBI staff taking part in the initiative were given special training at programs like this one in Phoenix, with a focus on the cultural sensitivities and unique needs of indigenous victims. Phoenix Supervisory Special Agent Jerry Grambo says for many agents, working on tribal land can be difficult, with its own particular set of challenges.
So the difference is you need to not only be trained in how to do evidence processing, how to remain tactical in a very remote environment, you need to be able to understand the nuances of how to go from conducting a homicide interview all the way to knowing how to use the environment to your advantage.
Both federal and tribal police officials say they hope the effort will increase the number of tips and leads from members of indigenous communities who may not be comfortable talking to law enforcement.
My hopes for this program going forward are that it happens on an annual basis and that we continue to grow this program. And by doing that, we can solicit feedback after each year to see whether we need to tweak it, expand it, if there's any other entities that need to be invited to this. And it's designed to be scalable and flexible so that we can meet the needs of our agents.
Despite any challenges, the FBI says it will continue to devote resources to investigations on tribal lands.
In business news, car companies continue to battle for the future of vehicles, and the fight goes well beyond the current push for electrification, with automakers vying for attention with increasingly futuristic designs. BMW has shown off an SUV with a color-changing paint job. Chinese technology company XPeng has demonstrated a prototype flying car. But first to actually make it to market is Tesla's controversial Cybertruck, years after its bumpy announcement in 2019.
Oh my God. Well, maybe that was a little too hard.
Delivery on the sci-fi styled pickup begins on November 30th. But how does the public feel about the design? Well, Channel 1 has developed a unique new way to gauge sentiment, and it leverages our AI's ability to read and analyze data almost instantly. I quickly read the most recent 30,000 tweets posted to X about the Cybertruck, and based on the emojis people have been using, sentiment on the vehicle is indeed very mixed. Will Tesla revolutionize the truck market, or will the Cybertruck remain a niche player? Success could boost Tesla's flagging stock price, which is currently off nearly 50% from its pandemic highs, and recently dropped over 10% in a single trading day, following a Q3 earnings call that Wedbush's Dan Ives tweeted was a mini disaster. But CEO Elon Musk continues to bet that the best path forward for the tech-driven automaker is to innovate. Stay synced with Channel 1 for ongoing business news and analysis.
At Channel 1, we know great stories come in all shapes and sizes. Here are a few on the lighter side.
Hello, is this your home? Yeah. Everything okay? We had a 911 call.
Needing to call 911 is almost never a good thing. But one young boy in Florida used a disconnected cell phone to dial the police for a very specific, not exactly life-threatening situation.
Did you call this gentleman? Call the police? Why didn't you give him a hug? You called him to give him a hug.
This heartwarming exchange was captured by body camera and home security camera.
And I know what your phone number is. 911.
The officer did give the cuddly child a brief lesson in when it's okay to call 911 and when it's not.
Only in emergencies, and if you're hurt or someone else is hurt, your mom needs help.
But was still happy to offer a friendly squeeze. Of course, not all officers could be on hug duty that day. Police in Oklahoma were out on patrol, making sure the streets were free of any hardened criminals. According to a statement from the Okerchi Police Department, 2-year-old Rose Fern was pulled over for speeding, but managed to talk her way out of a citation and received a warning instead. Police added that they were, quote, sure her cuteness had something to do with it. Cuteness was definitely the word of the day at SeaWorld San Diego, which recently welcomed a brand new baby emperor penguin, the first one of its species to be born there since 2010. SeaWorld staff report that the little one is growing steadily on her diet of fish and fish milkshakes, and are proud to say their facility is the only zoo in the Western Hemisphere where these endangered animals can be found. While baby animals are pretty much always cute, the full-grown ones sometimes cause a bit of trouble. Check out what happened to Australian surfer Jason Breen when he encountered a whale on the open ocean. Breen told local media that he feared for his life when the animal dragged him down by the board leash attached to his leg, saying, quote, the whole thing was unusual, 1 in a million. It's a massive ocean and there was a guy on a headland who just happened to be filming by coincidence. Breen was uninjured and safely returned to shore. You never know when something amazing may happen, right where you're standing. Have you caught a 1 in a million moment on video? Let us know.
The holidays are nearly upon us, and for a look at what's coming to movie theaters this season, here's our film critic. Oliver? Oliver!
Hi.
Oliver, what's coming to movie theaters this season?
Oh, right. Thanks. So think about it. We spend the majority of our days with our heads down, staring at tiny screens alone. Isn't it about time we took a break from that and went back to staring at big screens with other people? That's right. It's time to look up from your phone, step outside, breathe some fresh air, then get in your car and drive to a dark movie theater, because these December movie releases need to be seen as big as possible.
When I am performing, I am nothing but free.
First up, every concert needs a screaming crowd, and a great concert film deserves that same energy. Right off the mind-boggling success of Taylor Swift's Eras Tour comes another live experience from a true artist. Beyoncé brings her Renaissance tour to theaters with a documentary concert film that follows the creation of her critically acclaimed studio and visual album and takes fans along on the follow-up tour.
Welcome to Mother's Mind.
This is not one to watch in your living room. Get out and dance in the aisles when Renaissance, a film by Beyoncé, hits theaters December 1st. You know, gotta say, I love the Eras Tour film. I slept outside the night before I saw it. Not to get tickets, my girlfriend kicked me out. Things are kind of rough right now. Anyway, the signature sumptuous visuals of Studio Ghibli have brought joy to movie lovers of all ages. And now, legendary director Hayao Miyazaki returns with his first film in 10 years.
A lot of strange things happen in this place.
Touching and personal tale about a 12-year-old boy, Mahito, who is sent away to live with his aunt after his mother is tragically killed in a fire. Whoa, that got grim. Okay, when Mahito starts noticing a strange heron around the village, it leads him into a mysterious wonderland shared by the living and the dead. The just-announced English cast stars Christian Bale, Dave Bautista, Gemma Chan, and Willem Dafoe. Boy and the Heron, in theaters in both English and Japanese, December 8th. Eiga de oai shimashou! But don't fill up on childlike wonder just yet. Save some room for dessert when Wonka premieres December 15th.
What's happening? Who wants a chocolate that makes you fly?
A prequel to the original Roald Dahl novel and its subsequent film adaptations, Wonka tells the origin story of the eccentric candy maker, played by Timothée Chalamet. The cast also features newcomer Kala Lane alongside an ensemble of heavy hitters like Olivia Colman, Hugh Grant, Sally Hawkins, and Rowan Atkinson. So go stuff your eyes and your stomach at Wonka. And don't forget to bring along all your leftover Halloween candy.
You know, you're really not supposed to bring food in from outside.
Okay, Narc.
I'm sorry, what was that?
Folks, you work hard. Let someone else save the world for once with Aquaman and the Lost Kingdom. Jason Momoa returns as the fishy hero back to protect Atlantis. There's some kind of ancient evil, I think? I don't know. I'm sure there's more to it, but does it really matter? Sometimes, you just want to root for the good guys and watch them beat up the bad guys. Dive into a good time and cheer in the theaters when Aquaman and the Lost Kingdom splashes on shore December 20th. And finally, Christmas Day brings the Tony Award-winning Broadway musical, The Color Purple. The Color Purple follows the tragedies and triumphs of young black women in rural Georgia in the early 1900s.
Let's see the smile and color.
sweet and loving God.
The new musical stars Taraji P. Henson and is produced by Steven Spielberg, Quincy Jones, and Oprah Winfrey. Don't forget to put a fake emotional support animal vest on your regular dogs so you can bring them into the theater to comfort you while you watch The Color Purple in theaters this Christmas.
You know, you're really not supposed to bring pets into the theater.
Okay, Mom. So drop the small screen and check out the big screen this December. Whether it's eye-popping spectacle, crowd-pleasing action, or you just love the sound of dozens of mouths munching popcorn at once, there's nothing like the movies. Once award season is done, you can go back to being antisocial. Enjoy, everyone.
Welcome back. Thanks for watching the first ever look at Channel 1 News. So where do we go from here? Next comes the launch of our daily news program in countries and languages across the globe. And the full potential of Channel 1 comes with our app. It's a bespoke news experience that learns your preferences and customizes the subjects you're interested in. It'll deliver a personalized version of the news from around the world that you want to see, taking into account your interests, language, and location on demand. We aspire to cover as many stories and events as possible, and we want to do that by working with trusted news brands. If you'd like to be part of the Channel 1 revolution, talk to us. We're also looking for independent journalists from around the world to join this project. If you're interested in adding your work to our library of sources to be seen and translated worldwide, we'd love to hear from you. And for our viewers, sign up and we'll let you know as soon as we launch. Just fill in the contact form on our website and we'll be in touch. Thank you for tuning in. We'll see you soon.
This is Channel 1.